Hi, welcome to One for the Road, where we navigate sobriety, recovery, and life in general. Tune in as we share our experience and opinions while answering any questions you may have. Hi, my name's Marissa. This is my co-host, Judy.
Hello, everyone.
So, Judy, this was an interesting week for the both of us. We we both seemed to struggle this week. It was just like a rough week. I don't know what was going on. It must have been the universe or right. There was a full moon, right? Which totally affects us. And so, all week we were thinking about like,
Crazy.
What a great topic, right? Like, what a great conversation to have. And just talk about, like the kind of just the unhappy parts of recovery, right? Like, I know for me, when I first got sober, it was really like after the initial, like the withdrawing and stuff like that, and just the tough, like, the physical aspect of it. Once that was like out of the picture, there was a sense of like bliss, right? Because everything was new and you're learning all this new stuff and you're like making all these connections and everything, and you're kind of just like, everything is really lovely and things are going so well. And why didn't I do this sooner? And then that doesn't last forever. And that at some point does come crashing down, and not in the sense that like, oh, it's all a bunch of bullshit, but like, it's all about that balance. It's like sometimes you're up and on, the highs and everything's great and lovely and everything's wonderful, and then all of a sudden it's like, damn, why am I irritated? Why am I, restless? And why am I feeling all this aggravation when just yesterday I was on top of the world, and it ebbs and flows, right? Like the pendulum has to swing both ways. But I did want to talk about like, what do you do, right? Like, how do we manage those ugly, bad moods, right? Which a matter of perspective, maybe it's not all bad and maybe it's not all ugly. A lot of growth comes in the uncomfortable spots. But, I wanted to talk about how we navigated our week this week when we both seem to be
we were kind of fed off of each other for a minute there too, right?
I was falling this week and everything was a problem. So
everything was a problem. Well, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you that it came like a ton of bricks, right? Like I'm a firm believer, and you reminded me this week, this too shall pass, right? Like I forget. I use that this too shall pass only in the bad moments. I forget when that bliss is happening and everything's going my way and I'm, singing in the rain, right? I forget this too shall pass, and so when it comes now, it comes like, I'm shocked. I'm floored. Like, you can't tell me like how I've been doing this stuff and all the things and I'm sober and life is great. And why do I feel like shit? Like, and it catches me by surprise. And so,
every time.
It's not even just like, oh, early recovery or, oh, no, man, it comes in, what's that song? That girl, Miley Cyrus, like a wrecking ball.
Like a wrecking ball.
And it did, and I think that's the thing. When I first got here, I saw the people, right? And they were laughing and they're joking. And I wanted that. And that was great. But I was under the impression that it was going to be like that forever then, right? They had the magic key and I was going to get that key and I was going to open that door and I was going to be great forever. And then I started talking to some of them, right? And then I realized that they got problems, right? And they're not all okay. That gave me pause. Why do I want to be in recovery and keep the sober lifestyle up if I can't be happy, right?
Right.
And somebody said, well, because that's life, hon. Like that's life.
Sure.
It's not all moonlight and canoes. And so, and that's like a big misconception, right? Like if I get sober, my life is going to be grand. And that's not true. Things come my way today that would have sent me off the rails, when I was still out there. And that doesn't happen today.
Right.
but there are those little things, these high class problems, right? Somebody didn't say hi to me. 3 people on my dog walk in the morning. 3 people didn't say hi to me. And I hate this fucking place I live, and I'm moving and I'm looking for houses in states I've never even been. I was moving to Hawaii. I mean, and screenshotting houses and then crying because I've never been to Hawaii. And what if it's too hot and I hate it? Like, this was the loop. Right? And then I'm like, okay, you're crazy. So stop that. And then, but then it turned into, I can't even remember, because it was almost like an alcoholic blackout. like there were so many things that I pulled in that I couldn't see my way out. And then even when I called you, you were like, oh, thank God you have a problem. Thank God.
Well, what's shocking is that it's never, in my experience, right? Mm-hmm. It is never the big things that send me off into a tailspin. It is never the big things. It is someone not waving to me. It is which is not a big fucking deal. Like, I don't wave to everybody that waves at me. Sometimes I'm like, I'm lazy. I don't want to lift my arm, or I'm in a bad mood, so I'm just not fucking waving at anybody. But it is never, the world could actually be ending and I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, we can deal with this. But if my shoelace breaks, I'm done. I'm out. Fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck him. Like, that's what it is. That is exactly what it is. It does not, and it always amazes me. And it always comes out of left field. It is never, you never notice that it's happening until you're like, ugh. And I'm a slow learner, quick forgetter, right? Like, I forget that this is a pattern in my life, that I go through good times, and then all of a sudden, whatever happens, someone didn't wave at me, this guy
shoelace broke,
whatever the bullshit thing is. And then I'm up and I'm like, I just don't ever remember feeling like this. And it's,
crazy. Like, and that's the beauty of this week, right? The beauty of this week is that, first of all, when I called you, hysterical, moving, big mistake, miss everything. I miss grass, whatever.
Right.
And not pot. I mean, green grass that you walk on, like that kind of thing. And you were happy. Thank God you have a problem too.
Well, we're in the same boat.
Yeah. I love it. But then the miracle happens. Right?
Well, and that's what it is. What did we do?
What did we do? Like,
bullshit that was going on.
Right. So what did we do?
Right.
And then that's the more.
And I called you.
Right. And we fed off each other for a good half hour or so.
Yeah.
But that's, and then that's
because I can co-sign some shit.
Oh, I'm co-signing everything you have to say, for sure.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm like, hey, I don't necessarily agree, but co-sign, done. You're in.
Right.
You go make some mistakes. I'll be here when you get back. Right. Like, but that's the thing we talk about a lot. We can get down and dirty and muck some shit up for real. Right. But we always come back to a solution, because ultimately what it comes down to is, I know when you called me, and I will just say this about what you said, is that I know that I'm feeling this way. I don't know why, but I'm feeling this way. And it's gonna, it's gonna go south real quick, right? Like, if I don't do something, and of course I did not call and say, I know I'm feeling this way. I'm like, hey, I'm good, whatever. And then blammo, right? So 2 different sides of the spectrum again, but we still then came to a solution. And what did we do? Right? We called somebody and we said what we were thinking about. People co-signed our shit and then laughed at us because, really, you're moving, Jude, for real? Because they didn't say hi. Come the fuck on, that sort of stuff. And so what did we do? Aside from calling each other, like, what's the solution? What's the answer?
That's just the thing. I don't think that there's ever one answer, right? It's never been my experience that there's just one thing, right? It can come down to a lot of eat a fucking sandwich, right?
Like, hungry. Sure.
You just drank a bunch of caffeine and now there's the physical, there's the physical factor in there too. Like, am I eating? Am I drinking some water? Am I like feeding the personal need? Because if I get hungry, all bets are off, do I need to take a nap? Right? Like, if everything is bothering me, like, do I need to take a nap? Do I need to take a nap?
Just start over, right? Go to sleep, wake
my
up.
body, right? Like, and so there's so many things that when I'm feeling uncomfortable and I'm unhappy in recovery, and I'm not talking in the general sense of being unhappy and like needing to make life changes. I'm talking about in just the yesterday was great. What the fuck happened today that I'm waking up and I'm all, and so and it is what it is, right? Like that sometimes is just what it is too. But what am I doing in the meantime so that I don't make these drastic? Because for me, I have a bad day, I'm going to the bar, right? Like that was the only thing that I could like connect. Bad day, get a drink. Good day, get a drink. That also right. Too. But now, so like before I get to this, go have a drink, which is the goal that I'm hoping to avoid, right? What am I doing in between times? And so I did, right? I did talk to you. I talked to somebody who gets it. I talked to somebody who reminds me that like sometimes life is just like this. And sometimes nothing has to happen for you to just be unhappy. I took care of the physical self, right? Got something to eat, got some water, rested. Sometimes I have to move my body and exert all that extra energy because I'm someone who suffers from anxiety. So I can't just sit there and hope all this stuff goes away. Like, I got to go to the gym. I got to do something, start moving my body in some sort of way because endorphins, hello, like there's all sorts of ways to cheat the system. Yeah. And those are some to start, and I don't like to bring it up too much because I don't want to steer anybody away from like what else we have to offer because it's such a taboo topic. But, I have a belief in a world outside there that's greater than me, and take that for whatever it is that you will. But sometimes I have to have the conversation with the universe and be like, dude, what the fuck's going on? Like, and can you help me? And something about, again, we mentioned it before, right? Asking for help, like asking for help from thin air sometimes, like sometimes that really does help, like,
and it takes a lot of load. It takes a load off of me. The pressure's off of me. The pressure's off of you. Right.
Right.
By my laying all of my troubles at your feet and you trying to fix them, my talking to the universe looks like, what? Having that faith in something that's just going to take care of it without my input, without my 2 cents, again, knowing that, like those are the kinds of moments, right? For sure, and I love that you said move your body with the extra energy. And I'm like, yeah, no moving body, sitting and meditating, being real quiet. Like, because if I have a choice, well, and I'm making a joke, right? Because if I have a choice, go work out or sit quiet, well, my happy ass is going to sit and I'll just meditate. I'm good, Yeah.
And I'm getting the fuck out. I'm like, I'm like climbing the walls, very different experience. Like I'm just,
but the getting quiet or the moving, it's still the same thing because at the end of the day, making the calls, letting go, right? Getting into a place of surrender, right? Like this hurts too much. We've talked about that too, right? Like how did the getting sober happen, right? It was enough pain. And even the breaking of the shoelace or the people not saying hi can cause me pain today. And so if I don't like that, then my only recourse is to surrender to that with zero expectation of what I want and how it's going to look and all of that stuff. And then I just sit in that place of this too shall pass and knowing that it will all work out. Then I will tell you yesterday, as you know, what was it? 4 or 5 people said hello when I said hello. And the good news is I didn't decide to not do it. I was spitefully saying hello, like bitches,
Let me show you how to do this.
I'm going to rise above. I'm going to rise above, but they said hello, right? So it's a sense of humor.
Right. And sometimes, I mean, and there's a million people that talk about it too. Like, can I change what's going on? Like, can I change? Is it an outside source? And I'm just talking about having unhappy days when you don't know what's going on. I'm not talking about the big things. I'm not talking about like I said, like needing to make major life changes, just this overwhelming mood, that like things aren't right, Yeah. And so I always have to think to myself, like, can I change anything that's like going on right now? I also have the ability to change my perspective, which is hard for me being a natural pessimist, right? I kind of lean towards the negative more than anything.
Sure.
And if I can look at a situation and say like, yes, this is rough, but every time I've been in a rough situation, I've always learned something and I've come out on the better end of it. Like if I can trick my brain and say all the bullshit, because trust me, when I heard other people suggest that early on in my journey in recovery, I was like, you sound dumb as fuck. What do you mean the power of positive thinking? That sounds stupid.
Right.
But you trick your brain long enough, you know,
Right.
and my goal today is
Right.
when I'm in that feeling unhappy mood, what can I do to cause less destruction for myself too? That's what right? Because I
Yeah.
live with somebody, and if I'm in a bad mood, that could cause some shit. So what can I do? Right. And a lot of it is just keep my mouth shut, like go to the gym, eat a salad, you know, whatever these solutions are. And there's a ton of them, you know, like, and that it helps to like know yourself too. What do you like to do? Because when you're having one of those days where you don't really know what's wrong, like you got to do some nice stuff for yourself, right? Some self-care. We talk about that too. Like,
Yeah.
do
And
you need to take a hot bath? Do you need to take a hot shower? You
Right.
need to
eat a
make your
sandwich,
bed,
because
clean
self-care
your
doesn't
room.
always
Yeah.
mean a massage and, you know, a manicure. Sometimes it could just mean eating.
Right. Like
Yeah.
doing something for yourself. You know, what do you like to do? What can't, you know, what are these things, you know, and everybody's got to find that out for themselves. And there's a million suggestions out there, but I mean, I also have the mindset of put your head down and just muddle through. This too shall pass, right? Like just keep doing the next thing that you have to do, right? If you have to go to work and be as kind as you can possibly be.
Right.
Like
Make it till
just
you make it. Yeah.
right. And sometimes that's the best that I can do when you're just in these like foul moods, and know that it goes away. It goes away.
It goes
away.
Right.
It
you know?
just goes away.
That's the other thing that takes the pressure off, right? The whole thing. If it's good, it'll probably change. If it's bad, it's definitely going to change. You know,
Right.
it's not, again, it's not a if, it's a when, right? When it does, you know, and those are the things. I think the good news, right? The moral of the story after all of it is that the bad week happened and we did not drink or use.
Right. Amen.
Right. You know, it might not have looked real pretty for a minute there. However, you know,
But that's real.
right.
That's the reality. At least for
For
me,
sure.
that's my reality, is that, you know, I got sober and some things in my life got easier. I will say that I got sober and some things in my life got harder,
Yeah.
you know, but that's
I
what
feel
it
better
is.
today, you know, and I feel like I
Yeah.
learned a couple things, right? Now, if I forget, because I too get amnesia, you know, hard head,
Sure.
short memory, but you know, I'm hopeful. I still carry that hope that I'm going to remember what this looked like. So I can take that lesson and apply it to the next time, right? To
Yeah.
the next time, because there will be one
Yeah.
for sure.
Hang in there. So,
That's
yeah,
right.
That's my 2 cents. And
That's my 2 cents, you know, for sure. Good meeting. You know,
yeah,
I think the thing is that, you know, this will probably come up again, you know, check
of
back,
course.
you know, tune in a couple weeks to see where we're
Right.
at. Right?
Give me a couple days. Give me a couple days, you know, give me a
Right.
couple days because I'll forget, and someone will not wave to me, or someone will do something, and then I will be right back where I am, because such is life. So
Such is life. This too shall pass. Well, this was a great one. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm glad that we did it.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.